I'm going to do it this way. It's time for, you got it, Wordsmith Wednesday, my friends. And so we're going to check out, I'm just going to read you a short story that's actually from my novella, Wall. I've read it once before, and we have some new viewers tonight. And for a Good Friday night, why not think about this story that I was able to get released? And I thought it was really interesting because we made sure it came out before a Matt Damon movie about the Great Wall of China. So let's hear from our friend. And by the way, I found out the name of the guy who did the control voice. He was the voice of one of the adult characters. Oh, he was the voice of the bad guy on Johnny Quest. And his name was something like Sin or Oz or something like that. I'll find out. I'll find out. But I know the name. I saw his picture, but I can't remember his name. Well, he was I guess a pretty popular voiceover guy at the time who did this voice of the control voice.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
All right, Outer Limits.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Outer Limits is awesome. And they also have the end theme on there. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. It's about 8:15 on a Friday night, and it's Fiction Friday. I've got my Milford High School shirt on. I've got my booktube mind going now, and I welcome you to a Friday night, my friends. Let's rock it. Now, I'm going to read to you a piece from Wall, my novella that was released a few years ago, and we had to beat the Tom Damon movie. I actually wrote this for a book that was supposed to come out, and it was going to be called Book 13 or something like that. It was about some of the most haunted places on Earth. The book never was released. I found out as I was writing it that it wasn't going to happen, but I continued it because I had this great idea for the story about a wall before the wall. And you might notice that on the screen there, just above that pyramidal type mountain, the clouds form an eye. And I asked the person who was designing the cover, I said, in the clouds up above in this ancient Chinese drawing, there's like half of an eye. Can you take that and flip it and put an eye over the top of that pyramidal-like mountain? He goes, oh yeah, definitely, I can do that. Now, inside my novella Wall are Chinese symbols. And if you translate the Chinese symbols, they all have a meaning that actually reveals something in the story as you go. So there's all sorts of stuff in here that gives you secret meanings if you can translate it. So the story behind this goes like this. June 1966, Oxford, England. This story actually starts on my birthday of all things. And it's just the way that it had to go. I had to do it that way. Robert Fitch and Toby Chalmers are two obscure professors defending an unorthodox theory. Both men believe that thousands of years before what we might have been told was the start of human history, there were other cultures, powerful, strange cultures that traded and communicated around the globe. When peers bother to acknowledge the two men, their views are met with scorn and derision, their names mentioned to the accompaniment of chuckles and jabs. But that is about to change. The academics have come into possession of a man-made relic that predates dynastic China by thousands of years. This ancient, strangely marked brick could be the only surviving piece of a giant barrier dubbed the Wall Before the Wall, and it very well could vindicate both men. But as they attempt to cross the border into the totalitarian nation to prove their theory, Fitch and Chalmers might wish they had stayed in Oxford. They might wish they had given more thought to why the wall before the wall was built. Because it's possible the wall was built to keep out something very, very malevolent. Something that has been waiting for them. Okay. Now, just to give you the opening of this, goes like this. Part 1. Friday, the 3rd of June, 1966, 1506. That's the, military time. Or British time. They do it the 24-hour clock. You understand this has profound political implications. Fitch removed his spectacles, looked up from the report. Of course, Toby. We knew that all along. Even the map seemed to radiate trouble. But we're agreed. We see this through. The lanky man rose from his torn office chair and put the papers atop one of the mounds on his desk. For a moment, he appeared thoughtful, stuffing his hands into his pants pockets and looking out the cellar window. In the diffuse light, his thinning blonde hair seemed transparent, angelic. No one else has seen the results? He asked. Not one. I did the test myself, just as we agreed, Chalmers replied. He watched Fitch guardedly, wondering if his old friend and rival still had it in him, still felt the hunger for more than comfort and a stable, unrewarding career. You know, Toby, I can't count how many times I've stared out this window at the Oxford skyline in the past 15 years, and each time I felt like a prisoner, an animal caged. Nothing I do, none of the theories I expound, and none of the evidence I offer is taken seriously. My peers scoff. Pre-flood architecture, nautical Paleolithic cultures, ancient civilizations connected around the world? Rubbish! I sometimes understand why Benedict was nearly driven to suicide after Göbekli Tepe. Very slowly, like a waxwork on a lazy Susan, he turned on his heel, then shook his head. But Chalmers, he clenched his fist, face suddenly alight. By the devil, man, you've done it! Chalmers smiled and took Fitch's cool, clammy hand in an energetic grip as the other man moved around the desk. This is going to rewrite history, Toby, Fitch said, and the two held each other in a brief hug. No one will be laughing at us in a few months. He wound back to the papers, lifted the results. You know they'll hate us for this, Chalmers warned. Oh, they will indeed. Fitch's smile was mischievous. Pack your bags, Toby. I'll book the flights. So then from there, they board their plane, headed to Hong Kong. Now, there's a story here that I want to read to you called Assassin. It is attached to this 1960s story, but it happens this way. Assassin. And here is the Chinese pictogram that fits the word assassin. Okay. Yeah, we were pretty thorough. They did a great job. This is awesome. This is Shadow Ridge Press. Those guys are great. What follows is all that remains of a highly controversial artifact, purported to confirm cryptoarchaeological theories that circa 12,000 to 10,000 BC in pre-dynastic China, long before the Qin and the Warring States period, long before the Ming sought to repel the Mongols, there was built by human hands what can only be described as a wall before the wall. The location of this arcane relic has been purged from the folklore record, and the text itself, claimed to have appeared spontaneously on a reed papyrus scroll, has been seen by only a few. Fewer still believe it to be authentic. The content has been translated as closely and painstakingly as possible from the original dead pictographic language, and is here presented for your perusal. It is known only as the Testimony of Guan. 1. Ye. That's, of course, Spanish for one. You are my beacons. As I race through this darkest of nights, as hunger and thirst ravage my flesh and the march becomes impossible to bear, you are there to guide me, my exquisite stars in the great emperor's sky. Master Chiang warned me not to bring you into my world. 300 days of training proved I was his most valuable pupil, blessed with the power of the bull, eyesight of the hawk, speed of the wind, and the very human thirst for revenge. To fulfill my potential, he advised me to stay pure and unaffiliated, unfulfilled. We kill and live as weapons, Guan Yu, and we must eschew the physical and emotional chains that bind us to earth. We must be spirits of death. The wise old man burned me with the words as he burned me with the brand. I remember the pain, and I remember the wisdom he attempted to impart. But my master was wrong. You, my beautiful Daji, and tiny, defenseless Longhui, took me from the desert of despair and planted me in the soil of the future. You have blessed me with hope. Through you, I have come to know that my mission is conducted for more than vengeance. It is for love. Without you, I would not have survived to reach this dark, evil place at this most crucial moment. I have arrived at the lair of Al-Wazah, mere days prior to the great axial precession. Here, I shall conduct my final mission. Here, I shall perish or save my people. I shall perish or save you. Torches flicker ahead. What could be beautiful signs of civilization are bits of devilish starlight dancing on an onyx stage. The night is flat, yet infinite, depthless, and calm. I smell the rich silver grass as it yields to a shore of cooling stones. The stones then yield to dusty sand. With the stealth of a panther, my hands find purchase in the lifeless soil of this desolate place, fingers retouching my mask of dirt. The poisonous dust works into the neck of my drab, inconspicuous beggar's clothes, sticking to my chest where the tiny brand dances to the drumbeat of my heart. I know you do not like it, Daji, but it is a part of me, as I am a part of it. The tongue of the black scorpion is twitching to life, and it is ready to kill. Beneath the torches lie stone and dirt embankments, and the two openings that control access into their wicked, wicked world. They admit rickshaws and horse-drawn carts, deliveries of wood and crushed rock all day and night. And they admit the shuffling, shambling things we call the afflicted. Touched by the false one, and led to toil until the raw skin on their dying fingers falls away, until the flesh wears off and only bones and tendons lift stone. They move as if possessed, mere ants focused on building the circular wall of their own despicable tomb. Wazah, the Wanderer, given the Bedouin name for noble, watches while they relish the insane opportunity to inflict pain onto themselves, while they close off our sacred village to turn it into hell. I remember looking in the eyes of my prisoners and being shocked by their faraway stare and devotion to the unknowable. Their faith was so strong, most died of their injuries before betraying their God. But one of them broke Daji. You wondered where I had gone that month of the 6th moon. And now I can tell you, armed with my skills and tools, and fueled by a rapidly dwindling hope, I had gone to interrogate another fanatic. I set about the work grimly, with a growing fear of each new subject. It seemed as if, when striking the twisted human features, I could see Wazah grinning back, inviting more pain, taunting me with the confidence of one who is certain of victory. But after days of effort, beating, starving, whipping, scalding, slowly removing the skin on his arms, the young toothless man allowed a small piece of his old humanity to surface. He responded with a haggard remnant of a voice and the shell of a phrase. "Commands at Sangjing Dui," he said. And that was all. As he faded into unconsciousness, my actions were swift and merciful. The boy was a monster. But in my hands, he was blessed with a moment of clarity when he was free of the false one's influence. And then we fed him to the dogs. Under Wazah, he would have had only insanity, loving his own pain until the awful, decaying end. He would have trod the path the noble desires for us all. I can see the child's madness 1,000-fold here at Zhangjuing Dui, and it reaches inside me with an unnatural touch. The area has been deforested, excavated. It glows dry and bonfire red behind immense stacks of boulders, stone, and wood. Beyond their scurrying, mindless silhouettes, a monument is rising. I feel it. The distant wall is barely visible, but it speaks and taunts through its mere existence. It is a testament to obsession and dark magic so powerful that to be in proximity is to be near the presence of evil and realize that all one's childhood fears and nightmares were not misplaced. They were merely waiting. I see this, and my mission here seems right, as if I were born to undertake the assassination. All the days of training, even my innocent childish play with lost Chew. Now it all makes sense. Did my elder brother know this would happen? When he led me into realms of trouble, stealing chickens from the farmer, running on rooftops, sliding like monkeys beneath wagons, was he preparing me for the night when I would avenge him? If he could see me now, would he not be proud? A clatter of hooves, the rumble of wood wheels on grit, the rhythmic creak of boards rubbing boards. A wagon approaches in the dark. It is ghostly and unlit. Its driver, or a guard, has extinguished the torches normally used for such a journey. The vehicle emerges from spectral mist behind me to my right, swaying drunkenly along a rutted path lined with dead plum trees and tall grass. There is no moonlight, but as the wagon nears, I can see the darkness take shape, like a demon ranging out of a bewitched forest. 2 hooded drivers sit at the front, and 12 silent passengers, a number chosen by Wazah to match zodiacal numerology, sway on each side. The horse pulls the wagon around the bend in the lane, wheels grinding and wobbling until it stops at the gate and is lit by the torches of the work site. And for a moment the vehicle appears funereal, a transport for the dead. I dart under the wagon, trusting in my abilities and Chiang's training to be as a shadow on pitch. Like flowing darkness, I am the coming of death. Beyond the grease bucket, on its hanger beneath, I scramble, clinging to the brake beam until I hear feet approach, 2 pairs grinding pebbles into dirt. The horse paws at the path, as if aware of the evil that permeates the zone. Then it goes still, and I hear voices, so strange in the whispering stillness that I am suddenly drained of heat. The language is darkly beautiful, but unnatural to human lips, and the sounds make me wonder if they are issuing from men at all. Hoc inum cognoscente. Cabe meo et elocite vis vesientibus, cum ripu blica pugnare. Someone steps towards the rear of the wagon, the guard, proximate to the grease bucket, and proximate to my own legs. He pauses and speaks in that unknowable language, and I see a curved sword descend to hang beside his left hip. Something in me is so infinitely repulsed by his very speech, his very presence. I want to use that sword and kill him and what lurks within. I want to cut his flesh to pieces and scatter every last sinew, but I hold my place. Breathe slowly, remembering the old spring days when my brother taught me patience during pranks and unwittingly prepared me to save our people. The wagon twitches and moves ahead. I hold on, pulling myself higher, for I know their angle of sight will change as we roll. 5 paces, 10. I think of my lost brother Chiu, of you, Daji, and you, Longhui. I think of those days in the fields, a grown man chasing butterflies, watching the cows, grazing, and I think of your ocean eyes, my daughter, so deep and somehow so blue and eternally alive, and I ride deeper into this hell. Here's chapter 2. The wagon stops. I feel the brake move to secure the wheels, and then the drivers get off. They step to either side of the horrible transport and help each of the afflicted down from their seats and onto the soil. Some kind of metallic clanging begins far to the left, followed by the tumult of stones smashing stones. The 2 groups form silent, morbid lines and head in that direction. I cannot see what is there, but I know it burns orange and red, like the fire of a dying sun. The drivers climb back aboard. We move past an enormous pile of rocks, close to a darkened area stinking of feces and piss. I drop, let the wagon roll. Then I slide to the edge of what must be a cesspit or trench. The rank stink is overwhelming, as if I am near an ocean of filth. It perplexes me to think that these people, once free and independent, could become nothing more than beasts of burden, eating and defecating away what is left of their lives. What has happened to them, to their families, to their minds? What has happened that they are no better than tools for this abomination? Beyond the rocks to the west appear new fires and torches in a line, figures climbing bamboo scaffolds, pulling up buckets filled with bricks and mortar. There must be thousands everywhere, and they all concentrate on one thing: The wall. The wall. The massive project looms before them, fully visible now, an edifice of yellow with a presence all its own. It begins to my left, where a jagged granite cliff ends, abutting it to create a great and impenetrable seal. Then it proudly works its way north, stretching and curving until it disappears within the spiderweb of scaffolds, smoke, and fires, and the lost souls killing themselves to complete this thing. There is something about this wall, something in its flat, high heaviness that offends me, and worse. It frightens me as I have not been frightened since I was a child, encountering strange, primal locations and natural forces my brother and I could not comprehend. To me, this is a growth from deep underground, a spine or plate from something alive that does not belong. The thought that humans could build it sickens me, and I withdraw a blade. It is time to kill. I run to the rear of the construction area, dodging behind carts and buckets, pottery and piles of wood. I see blurry glimpses of hunched shoulders, people pulling ropes on winches, children climbing bamboo ladders, old women. One collapsing in a heap of rags and bones, being retrieved by an armored guard. There are tents, cauldrons of huge fires. Cauldrons over huge fires. Rotting people mixing things in the cauldrons as a devilish light dances in their eyes. I am heading north, parallel to the line of the wall, and there are thousands of these creatures. Dear Lord, thousands of the afflicted. Weak in their presence, I run in the shadows, try to focus on my goal. Think of you, my stars, of my heroic brother, taken from me by Wazah, and of my master, Chiang. A young girl appears beneath my feet. I trip, drop my blade, and she falls to the rocky, packed earth. She cries out, and I slap my grimy hand over her mouth. The noises of metal and wood and grunts and moans and stones have drowned her out, I hope. She looks at me, wild eyes twitching as she shakes her head from side to side and pushes her weak limbs ineffectually at my strong arms. And I look at her. This thing that used to be a girl, now possessed and animated for Wazah. For a moment, she reminds me of you, Daji, for I smell something beautiful mixed in her hair. And then she is like you, Longwi, as her frightened, desperate eyes search for a way to escape. And then I grip with both hands and break her neck. The body is far behind me when I reach Wazah's tent, cloistered within a flock of similar cloth shelters, all large and white and guarded to appear the same and throw off killers like me. The false one's aides have made a grave error in their design. They have not moved Wazah from tent to tent. They have kept him, or he has kept himself, in one tent, and the worn path betrays its importance. Behind a nearest enclosure I run, falling to my knees on a patch of old, dry grass. I remove my slingshot from my clothes and get my gum sticks. A pouch yields my strike stones. I grab the grass, but then a sound issues from this tent, a kind of fleshy, slurping sound, and I pause. The cloth is only feet away. I do not have time to spare, but the sound, it comes again, accompanied by a long, undulating splash. Spying a small hole in the fabric, I lean forward, and in the flickering amber glow of 3 torches set in stanchions, a nightmare comes to life. 3 long iron racks stand side by side, each an arm's length away from the next, and Hanging upside down from them are naked, hairless corpses, the tortured, corrupt remains of the afflicted. They are male and female, elders and young, all manner of height, and all emaciated, skeletal husks, hung by their feet like prizes from a hunt. Mere collections of torn skin, flesh, and protruding bone, the bodies are barely discolored, barely touched by the hand of death. Between each row stand two men, wearing nothing more than grim expressions and dried blood. They carry short, curved butcher knives in their right hands and use their left fingers to grip each body, twist it to show the genitals, and then slice the artery at the neck and the vein in the groin. Blood flows like wine from each gash, deep, plumb, and glistening, until it trails off their gaunt faces and bald heads, collecting in long clay troughs that are half filled with blood. I recoil from the vision, which is burned like a sunbeam in my eyes and confirms Chiang's first lesson taught so long ago. They work until they die, Guan, and then their blood and bones are used to build more of the wall. I am too old and feeble now to stop them, boy, but you are my hope. You are the only hope. I work at my stones, drop them, then try again, controlling myself as I have been trained. A spark flies from the stones and ignites a bit of the dried grass. I touch a flame to my stick, and the pitch bursts to life. Then I touch that to a second stick and ignite it as well. I lodge the first beneath the tarp of the tent and eagerly watch it catch. Then I move off and launch the second high into the air. It flies like a shooting star, making an orange trail against the hazy darkness. The soldiers' storm soon will begin at the gates. I flee the fire and the charnel tent as voices rise in alarm and armed men in strange red uniforms rush towards the tent. My feet are quick and my steps light, moving me from tent to tent, place to place, until I am near Wazah's location. Then I crouch in a shadow, making it my home. The shadow, as the chaos starts. Overhead, flaming arrows streak through the sky from beyond the road. The work of what remains of our archers is seen, launching their first salvo ahead of the infantry. Early on, in the days before the madness, many of us owned horses, but Wazah requisitioned them, drafting them into the duty of his devilish goal, imprisoning our village. I have heard that he has worked many of them to death and used the remains not as food, but to create horrific, terrible pieces of art. Shouting erupts at the gates, beyond the piles of stones. Then the brutal life and death sound of metal hitting metal, sword hitting sword. More soldiers run, racing away from the lost pyre of the butcher's tent, heading past the stones and towards the gates. This is my moment, and I cut Wazah's tent and roll inside. Chapter 3, San. I hope you'll like this. And this is Wall. You can get it at Amazon and stuff like that. I think it's on Barnes & Noble too. I should get like copies and try to sell them myself, whatever. Chapter 3. The light inside is insufficient until my eyes adjust. Then I see I am in a front partition, and it is empty. To my left, deeper in the interior, and beyond a set of flaps, there is light. But I turn away, head to the front entrance, and the silhouettes of both guards outside, stabbing them in the back simultaneously, pulling upward to draw their bodies close. Then I withdraw the blades, and I reach around the tent flaps and pull them inside. Now I am like a moth drawn to the light beyond the partition. I hear voices. 2 men, one dominating the conversation. "We must continue, my friend. We have only days. If we do not finish the wall, if we do not place the keystone, the portal will open. No, Wazar. You must call the workers to our defense. The Tong will find you and kill you. Then stop everything. We do not have time to stop. Do you understand? We are so close. We must complete this or the prophecy will come true. You know this. I stay my hand near the flap. Step to the side. All these months you have done the right thing, my leader, but the enemy does not understand. They believe you are a... That voice. I have heard that voice before. Let them believe. Do you agree with them? What I believe is unimportant, Wazar. I cannot help myself. I must. Without taking the proper precautions, I step inside, and my brother stops talking to his god. Dun dun dun. Chapter 4. C. Every muscle weakens. Chiu? A turn of the head. Guan! How did you get here? He is to my left, Wazar to my right, and a large table covered with designs and maps stands between them. Chiu, you were taken by him. You were killed. Killed? He saved my life, Guan. I work with him to free my people. We have to stop the false one from opening the Minhu. Across from us, Wazar is young, slim, tall, and strong, tan-skinned, and shaved bald. He could be from our land, but something about his features tells me he comes from very, very far away. No, I say. He, Chu. He is the false one. He is trying to imprison us. A smile flickers on my brother's lips, but it is pitying and disturbing. Brother, you have been misled. I tried to reach you, but you had gone. I was training. His familiar yet somehow different eyes flash on my knives and hands. My bloody hands. Guan, what have you done? Shouting outside, Wazar moves, reaches for a curved sword on a cot. My brother lurches towards me, but I am faster now, faster than he has ever known, and I slice with both blades. They open his right and left forearms, and his face blanches with shock at what his little brother has done. He stumbles back, staring at the injuries, shaking his head, but I advance. And he backs away further, wearing a look I have never seen. He's still shaking his head as I drive the knives into his chest. Chapter 5. Wu. The ache in my head is deep and caustic, heat like acid filling my skull. But it is not the only pain. I try to open my eyes, have to struggle against the crust that glues skin to skin like a scab. I want to rub them. I realize my wrists and hands are secured. I begin panting and feel sweat rise from the landscape of my skin. Then the crust gives way, and there is light. And there is darkness. It is a weak kind of illumination, like a candle flame bleeding through amber. But after a moment staring at the wavering shadows on the ground, I am able to focus, and I see the interior of a low-ceilinged room, dusty, square, and windowless. From what I can perceive, the room has one doorway, a simple rectangular opening in front of me, and hides something cold and empty behind me. Leather straps hold my wrists and hands to the arms of a wooden chair. At my bare feet, the chair is bolted into the stone floor. I see transparent liquid there. Look at my lap. Realize my crotch is slightly damp and cool, giving off a sweet, subtle musk. Then I hear footsteps and see a stirring of shadows in the infinity beyond the doorway. One of our soldiers slips into the light, and I breathe easier. He is small and squat, young, but his face is disturbingly unreadable. Looking at him is like judging the emotion of water. This man stands aside, and another man enters. He is older, the stubble of his hair showing black and gray. His eyebrows are bushy and speckled with the badger's fur. And his smile, a cutting, tight-lipped grin, appears to have been sharpened on a whetstone of war. It takes a moment, but my sluggish mind eventually registers that this is my mentor, Chiang. Guan. He extends his hands from his shimmering white robe and approaches. You are awake. The touch of his fingers is like fire as he inspects my facial injuries. I must be badly bruised and cut, but I cannot see myself on any reflective surface. Where? I tug at my restraints as Chiang presses my neck. My brand. You are safe. We were not certain you would live. We had to restrain you to stop you from hurting yourself. Zan, he waves the young soldier over. Zan, remove these bindings. The young man complies in a hurried fashion and with dog-like obedience. He gets to his knees, and I realize my ankles were bound to the legs of the chair as well. How long have I been here? 2 days, my master tells me. He unlocks the leather binding on my wrists and steps back. Guan! I am confused. You did it! I blink for a moment, peering at him and Zan. Waza? You performed your task, Guan. You fulfilled your destiny and restored your family's honor. I am lost. I cannot recall killing Waza. All I remember is stabbing. My body rises with the realization, and I lift my hands. The hands that killed my brother. They appear alien to me, incapable of destroying my own flesh and blood. But they did. I did. I had to. For you, my ladies. My apprentice, Chiang says, gripping my shoulders. You have saved our mission. In moments, the precession will occur. But our captives are tearing down the wall. You have stopped Waza from closing our city, from blocking the Menhu. The Menhu? He seems not to hear. He turns and speaks as he moves. We have a prize for you, just in time for the profound moment that will change the entire world. I don't... 2 more soldiers enter, carrying a burlap sack. Whatever is inside moves slowly, like a worm, until Chiang produces a dagger from a sleeve. With one slice, the bag spreads open, and he yanks on the dark, dirty hair of the thing that is bound, gagged, and blindfolded inside. The prisoner is young, female, naked. Chiang hurls the child into the unoccupied chair, and the soldiers strap her arms and legs where mine had been. Then Chiang stands beside her shivering body and removes her blindfold. Removes the blindfold from ocean blue eyes. Longwei? She looks at me, pleading, unable to speak around the wood ball strapped in her open mouth. But I know what my daughter is thinking. I desperately, sickeningly know her fear of this place, her shock at seeing me, and her sudden hope and confusion. Zan and the other soldiers draw their swords before I can move, keeping me imprisoned a few feet before Longwei in the chair. Then Chiang turns his head, smirks, and walks towards the back of the chamber, where the flickering candles barely cast a glow. There is a curtain, A royal red curtain obstructing my view of the space that lurks beyond. I glance at Long Wei squirming in her restraints, at the blades of the soldiers, their fierce, almost playful eyes, and at Chiang, sliding away the veil. And reality does not seem real here, because you, Daji, you are bound and gagged in a chair behind the curtain. You are my greatest pupil, Guan Yu, Chiang says, pulling your hair off your bare breast as you watch with crying eyes. Nay, I would not call you a pupil. The word is protege. You could have been me and far more. He turns, shakes his head. But I warned you. I warned you about attachments. Chiang! He wags a finger. Do not speak, son. I want you to breathe and listen. As if wings, his arms spread, and Chiang fills his chest with the essence of the smoky, dusty air. You have performed well, as I thought you would. You infiltrated the lair of our enemy and destroyed Al-Wazar, the one known as the Noble. But there is another Noble, the greatest and most powerful Wazar of all. He looks at me with an almost indecipherable playfulness, like a tiger watching trapped prey, and I begin to smell something, or is it feel something, behind him and my desperate wife. There is a different kind of blackness. What was once a shadow on the wall, just a place where the candles did not quite reach, is now a vacancy. Wazar's people were never possessed, Guan. They were frightened. He convinced them that something waited beyond our world, and he was right. He believed that at the close of the axial precession, when the star signs begin their new 26,000-year curve across the cold horizon, the power lurking behind normalcy and beauty, the darkness with a mind, would emerge to take its place as the ruler of our world. And he was correct about that as well. I do not know how he discovered these things, but he did wander here from the West, and he did speak the truth. We merely disagreed about the terms monstrous and evil. This false earthly noble believed that man is a good creature, a blessing to the universe, and that the universe is good, that life itself is good. But we know that he is mistaken. Everything you see is an error that only inversion can correct. Man is poison. He is wicked and cursed with illusory ethics and situational morals. He is base and barely able to hide his wickedness behind rituals and habits and smiles. He is a monstrous spore that is trapped, waiting to be shown the way, waiting to be cultivated by true, pure, hungry power. He takes a few steps towards me and points at the darkness of the wall. It is just there, Guan, beyond the gate, beyond the Menhu. It is waiting. Waiting. Then he reaches into his robe and removes a rolled cloth, unraveling it as he approaches Long Wei and me. I can see you wondering, Daji. Their false Wazar's wall ended here, at an angle that forced them to try to close a breach underground, he says. His people showed such strength of will and determination, such passion, that they literally worked themselves to death and permitted others to use their blood for mortar. They succeeded only moments before we arrived to rip the stones away. But the procession is not complete for a few hours, Guan. There is still a chance to close the gate. I watch him, not comprehending. Then he opens the cloth. You have 2 lives before you, my apprentice, and you have taken many lives and inflicted joyous, wonderful pain. So I believe you understand. The great Wazar beyond the black is willing to wait if you show him that there are monsters here who are wicked enough to do his work. If you put your heart into it, he will not breathe into this world. He will not move. He will merely watch. Something shines in his hand. To one of these prisoners, you will do what you do well, Guan. If you choose your subject correctly, the other will live. If you choose incorrectly, the darkness will rush forth to rule us all. He extends the blade, and I see myself reach forward, hesitate, and take it. Do the right thing, Guan. Show Wazar what you are. I stand where I am, surrounded by blades, remembering all those on whom I have worked. I hold this shiny, sharp thing in my hand and feel the stares. Show Wazar, he says. Show him what you are. And the soldiers lower their swords. You are here, Daji. You, Long Wei. Lovely, lovely. But I must show Wazar to save one of you. Show Wazar what I am. And I step forward. You both close your eyes, because I must do my duty. And now you know what I do and what I am. Soon, Wazar will see. I am a monster. That's the end of the story. Called Assassin. It's at the end of the novella, Wall. And you might recognize the tongue of the black scorpion, which is in Tower. Just keep that in mind. It's in a few other stories as well. The tongue of the black scorpion. It's also in The Talons of Wang Chiang from Doctor Who. And of course, his master is Chiang. So there you go. Little reference to Robert Holmes there. Yes, indeed. And the Menhu is actually, all that stuff's real. It's all like translated, stuff. Try to make it as real as possible. So I hope you like that. Hope you like that story. And it's been an interesting show not being able to use the secondary system here. So I hope that was cool. And feel free if you want to check out Wall. I think you'll like it. And again, thanks to Robert and Tracy from Shadow Ridge Press. They're awesome. They've reprinted a lot of really good stuff by Manly Wade Wellman and put out F. Paul Wilson stuff. Really cool stuff. Really Tracy Carboni stuff. Tracy's great. She's really cool. And so thanks everybody. I hope this has been a good night. I'm going to play the Outer Limits theme to close off the BookTube segment. And this coming Wednesday for Wordsmith Wednesday, we're going to talk about Brian Lumley. Great British writer. Got started as a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft, did the Necroscope series, and Titus Groan, bunch of great stuff. Great guy. Met him many, many times, considered him a friend. He was a real nice guy. And he passed away a couple of years ago, but just a terrific British dude. I believe he moved to the Southwest in America, but man, Brian Lumley was cool. And if you read, I'll tell you more when we talk Necroscope next time. But right now, I'm just going to leave you with this, and then I'll close off the show. This is going to be my farewell. We're going to say goodnight with the Outer Limits theme, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody. I can't believe I can actually do this to say goodnight. Oh, by the way, if you want to support the show, don't forget the Former Star Trek Writing Fellow channel. That is on YouTube and on Rumble. A couple times a week, you're going to get good videos there with book suggestions or writer suggestions or short stories, that sort of thing. And then, of course, there's Liberty Conspiracy Live. If you're watching on the BookTube channel, then hop over and join us 6 o'clock Monday through Friday on Rumble for the political libertarian stuff, the economic stuff. And, of course, the Gardner Goldsmith Substack is a place where you can support what I do and what the whole Russian team does here to spread the Russian propaganda. Because, of course, we all know we work for the Russians. And so you can be a monthly paid subscriber there. That really helps. And, of course, you can always contribute at Rumble as well. As we close off the week, I know that I'm behind on contributions that I'd hoped. And I'll try to, do like a gas gauge sort of a thing very soon in the future. I hope this has been good information, despite the fact that the tech was a hurdle. We pushed past it with your help. So thank you, everybody. You're a great team. I hope I've given you something very, very valuable tonight. Remember, if you want to get the audio podcast, you can go to my Substack. If you're a paid subscriber there, you'll get the news notes Monday through Friday with a lot of extra information. And free on Sunday, it's the Sunday News Assembly. So from this former TV scriptwriter guy over to you, I welcome you to the last week of October. Halloween next week. It's going to be a blast. Think about good short stories that spooked you out, whether it's TV or written short stories. We'll open up the lines to you next week, and we'll have a great time together. I leave you with, of course, the control voice. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going over here. This is what I want.
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to the outer limits.